Hey everyone, welcome to today's explainer. If you're managing a transportation network, trying to optimize daily operations, or honestly, if you're just fascinated by how those massive logistical puzzles get solved every single day, well, you are in the perfect place. We're diving deep into a massive shift in transportation today. We're talking about moving away from that old school, intuition-based manual route planning and stepping into the world of data-driven fleet intelligence. Because, from the outside, fleet operations look so incredibly simple, right? A bus arrives, people get on, it drives away. But behind the scenes, it's a vastly different story. So let's explore how organizations are completely transforming their operational capacity by adopting intelligent software. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start by looking at the real limits of manual planning. Then we'll introduce modern routing software. After that, we'll do a head-to-head operational comparison, figure out how to measure actual ROI, and wrap up with a highly practical plan for scaling and rolling this tech out. All right, first up, the limits of manual planning and understanding those hidden operational bottlenecks. So why do manual routes actually cost more? It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? I mean, manual planning feels cheap at first glance. You aren't paying a hefty software license. But that perceived simplicity, just a planner sitting there with a map or a massive spreadsheet, it hides some incredibly deep inefficiencies. Relying on human intuition in a world that runs on data, that's a massive operational risk. These hidden inefficiencies, they're quietly eating up fuel, time, and human effort. And the absolute worst part is, nobody even notices until a major audit rolls around, and by then, the financial damage is pretty much locked in. The real culprit here is what we call micro-cost accumulation. See, manual planning completely misses these tiny compounding costs. We're talking about, say, 10 seconds of idling at a bad traffic light, or taking one extra left turn on a really congested road, or maybe just squeezing a few too many stops into a single morning run. On a random Tuesday, that looks totally insignificant, but multiply that over weeks, over months, across a whole fleet, boom. You're looking at massive fuel expenses, unnecessary vehicle wear and tear, and a ton of overtime pay. Nobody sets out to waste money. It just sort of bleeds out in tiny human-sized increments. And then there's the expertise bottleneck. Having a deeply experienced planner is fantastic, but if your entire routing brain trust lives entirely inside one person's head, or on a bunch of fading sticky notes, or in some physical binder ironically labeled master routes, your whole operation is unbelievably fragile. If that one planner gets sick, retires, or leaves, the whole system could literally collapse. Okay, so what's the fix? Let's talk about introducing routing software and how we move from basic digital maps to full-blown optimization engines. First things first, bus routing software is not just a digitized map with a bunch of pins and paths on it. Calling it a map is a massive understatement. It's really a dynamic optimization engine. It takes thousands of incredibly complex variables, things like specific vehicle specs, driver hour limits, passenger counts, even historical delay patterns, and evaluates them all at the exact same time. It weighs all the trade-offs and generates the absolute most efficient way to use your limited resources. Honestly, it finds solutions that a human planner just couldn't physically calculate without spending days doing the math. These optimization engines have some absolutely killer capabilities. You've got dynamic route optimization, which creates plans that slash costs while keeping you totally compliant with operational rules. You've got live fleet monitoring and GPS tracking, of course, but the real game changer? Real-time rerouting. If an incident blocks a road, the system recalculates instantly and beams the brand new instructions straight to the driver's tablet. No radio static, no panic. You also get data-driven insights that can tell you when to merge overlapping stops during a slow period, and with predictive analysis, if the system sees historical weather or traffic patterns brewing, planners can preemptively tweak schedules before the chaos even starts. It's literally like having a crystal ball for traffic. Let's put them in the ring together, manual versus automated routing, a direct operational comparison. Imagine a sudden road closure. With manual planning, that closure triggers an absolute domino effect. The planner has to frantically redraw the route, recalculate every single ETA by hand, radio every affected driver, and try to calm down angry passengers or parents calling in. It takes hours, sometimes all day, just putting out fires. And as your fleet grows, this only gets exponentially worse. You're basically paying a professional planner to be an architect of exceptions. In contrast, with automated routing, all those real-world quirks, like a low-clearance bridge or a house with a super long driveway, they're already encoded into the system. Predictive analytics just take over. The road closes, the system instantly calculates a detour and pushes the update out immediately. It turns a reactive, hair-on-fire panic into a totally seamless, proactive execution. Of course, we have to talk about the bottom line. Let's look at measuring real ROI, tracking those hard metrics, and digging into the benefits for everyone involved. When leadership asks for the numbers, you want to start with the cost per mile. This is the ultimate metric. It wraps fuel, maintenance, and vehicle depreciation into one solid number. When intelligent routing drives that number down, it frees up serious budget for other priorities. Then look at your vehicle utilization rate. The software makes your current fleet work smarter, not harder, which means you might actually be able to delay buying that expensive new bus. You'll also see a huge jump in labor hours saved. When planners aren't fighting fires all day, overtime plummets and schedules actually stick. And don't sleep on the soft metrics either. Passenger satisfaction goes through the roof when ETAs are actually reliable. Plus, driver satisfaction improves significantly because their days are just way less chaotic. And let's be real, keeping a good driver is a whole lot cheaper than hiring and training a new one. Oh, and bonus, driving fewer wasteful miles cuts emissions, hitting those crucial sustainability goals. There is a quote from the source material that I absolutely love. It says, "This is human plus machine, not human versus machine." There's this massive misconception out there that this software is coming for the planner's job. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a promotion. The software takes over all that tedious, mind-numbing line-by-line drawing. That frees up the humans to actually use their judgment, handle the really weird, complex exceptions, and think big picture. The planners become strategic analysts. They start figuring out depot placement or planning for electrification or looking at overall policy. It's a collaboration, and it just yields vastly better outcomes. So how do we actually make this happen? Let's look at scalability and rollout and walk through a roadmap for adopting this tech without breaking your daily operations. Here is a super practical 5-step game plan if you need to pitch this to decision makers. Step 1, take a snapshot of right now. Pull your baseline data. What's your monthly fuel spend? How much are vehicles idling? How many hours are lost to tweaking schedules? You absolutely need an undeniable before picture. Step 2, decide what winning looks like. Set real ambitious goals. The source suggests aiming for a 10% drop in cost per mile or maybe a 15% leap in on-time performance. Step 3, take it for a test drive. Don't just flip a switch on the entire fleet overnight. Run a pilot on a couple of routes, iron out the bugs, and get some early wins to build momentum and internal champions. Step 4, pick a partner, not just a product. You got to ask the tough questions. Does it integrate with your existing payroll? What happens if the system crashes at 5 a.m.? Is there actual human support? And finally, step 5, bring your people along. Train your planners, get driver feedback on the ground early, and make sure your communication with passengers is completely seamless. As we wrap up this explainer, let's lock in those key takeaways. The big picture here? Real-time routing does a lot more than save a few minutes. It literally restores calm to dispatch centers and builds confidence for your drivers. By using predictive analytics, you are completely shifting from reactive, panic mode scheduling to proactive, solid planning. Your human planners get elevated to strategic roles using real, actionable data. And when you team up with the right software partner, the tech just scales right alongside your future demands. I want to leave you with one final critical question to think about. Are your manual systems quietly outgrowing your operational capacity? If making a single route change takes days instead of hours, or if one person calling in sick brings your entire fleet to a screeching halt, your manual processes are failing, they're just doing it quietly. It might be time to bring your human know-how, your data, and your intelligent vehicles together to really unlock what your fleet can do. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and I'll catch you next time.